Prague cruise. I don't want to say the dark side, we brought him over to the light side. From the dark side.
Be gentle. I'm looking forward to
being schooled.
Yeah, do people, I heard some flute already. Do people play air flute on
Yeah, they stand like Ian Anderson with on one leg and yeah. Air flute, air violin, it's crazy. You're about to be ushered into a whole new world.
Yeah, Mike told me about this cruise, and I knew that their Cruise to the Edge was happening for a while, and I was talking about a couple times almost coming on. Larry's nice enough to offer me to stay on because I always do Monsters of Rock, and I've done some of the other ones too. I did one called Labruski, I did the Def Leppard one, I've done some of them, but I heard a lot about this. I've heard how great the people are, how great the fans are, and then of course the real cincher is this man's celebrating his 50th birthday, you old bastard.
I'm only about a year ahead
of you. You're behind me.
Oh, you're behind me.
That's you're younger than me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the real thing was, and then when I was talking to Sirius XM, and I said, let me, how about I stay on and do the radio show on volume, and we get into the prog world a little bit. They were cool with it. I said, but wait a minute, I need somebody to help me with the heavy lifting. So I'm going to pull him in to be the co-host with me as much as possible over the next 3 days. Yeah. As he's been, Mike and I, as people know or may not know, I mean, we've been friends for a long time and been doing my radio shows for the longest time, and of course that metal show.
But that's always metal, Mike. Now this is prog Portnoy.
So what am I? Is something different now? What am I going to experience differently?
I'm a little more well behaved in this world.
Okay.
I look at it like this way. Most of my prog bands are with Neil Morse. So the way I see it is, there's the real world and then there's the Neil world. So you're seeing me in the Neil world now.
All right, so far you seem the same as normal.
Really?
Yeah, but I just don't know if you're going to like transform into something like a cloud of smoke as soon as we
Well, you're used to the 5-minute rock tunes. You're now about to witness half-hour epic songs. And these people love it. I mean, you're going to be blown away by the audience. The prog community is one of the most passionate, devoted audiences in the world.
How many people in this room, and we've got a crowd gathering here to watch us, how many people in this room have been on this Cruise to the Edge before? Most people, right? And then they're the first timers? Yeah! Which is about half, which means they're not all that passionate because it's their first cruise.
I probably shouldn't say this, but how many people were on the prog cruise? So we've now come together, and but I mean, you're not all that detached. You're a Rush fan.
Love Rush, absolutely. I certainly like some of the S stuff. I certainly like Kansas. You know, that was kind of surprising to me. I didn't know that. I didn't realize, I guess I should have, but it never really connected with me that Kansas occupies such a big space in this world.
Well, they were the American answer to, I mean, most of the, like heavy metal, most of the prog began in England. And with metal, you started with Zeppelin, Purple, Black Sabbath, the English bands. It was the same in prog. It started with Genesis, ELP, King Crimson, Yes. They were all English bands. But then came Rush from Canada, and then came the American prog rock bands, which was like Jethro Tull, Kansas. And then you had like there's some prog that kind of borderlines with the AOR stuff, like Styx and
so
stuff like that.
Is Styx embraced by the prog fans?
Borderline.
A little bit?
Yeah. I mean that was prog in the 70s, but now prog is everything from Steven Wilson to Meshuggah. You know, like that's like I started putting together these Progressive Nation tours about 10 years ago when I was still in Dream Theater,
right.
And it was to embrace the prog as it is now goes from Opeth to the Flower Kings. It's such a wide range now, progressive music.
And the cruise that this ship just ended with this morning, Monsters of Rock, Queensryche was on that, and they told me they had played this one, so they actually lived in both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, in the 80s, around when Dream Theater came around, you had Queensryche, you had Fates Warning, you had even Iron Maiden and Metallica dabbling with 10-minute songs. So, the word prog has kind of infiltrated so many genres at this point.
All right, let me ask you this, and we'll see if the audience here agrees with us. Who is for instance, if we're talking about metal, it's pretty widely accepted and known that the creators of heavy metal were Black Sabbath, that they're the all-time quintessential defining metal band. In the prog world, who is that band?
I don't think it's one band.
I'm hearing people yell out some stuff. Yes? ELP?
It's the way that metal has the big four, prog has the big four.
So give me those big four then.
It's King Crimson, Yes, Genesis, and ELP. That's generally the big four. Throw in and Pink Floyd, depending on the period, can be thrown in.
Really? Pink Floyd gets prog love, huh?
Well, early Pink Floyd was psychedelic stuff, Sid Barrett. But then after Sid left, Pink Floyd went through a very proggy period with metal and Adam Hart Mother and Uma Guma. Those were very progressive albums. So they kind of tinkered in the prog world as well.
How did I do on my first grade? Is that
very good?
I'm hanging in there. All right. It's interesting, and on this cruise, and I was just before you walked on, Mike. I was talking because I know we're going to have. I think Alan White's coming from Yes. We're going to do this tomorrow. Every day for the people here on the ship looking at us and the assembled audience, I'm going to be doing this show live here every day from 2 to 4 Eastern. And we're staying in the Eastern time zone here on the ship again as well. So each day, if you want to come by, we will have some guests. Mike will be here as much as he can. And then I know Alan from Yes is coming. I'm not sure who we're getting from Kansas. Who's in Kansas of the original guys that are still there?
Well, Philly Hart, the drummer.
Right.
Richard Williams, you guys got to help me with this, right?
Rich Williams, he's still in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Steve Walsh is not there any longer.
This is their first album without Steve, with the new singer.
But I saw a video recently posted online, and the guy not only sounded like Steve, but he kind of looked like Steve. Was that me being crazy? That guy kind of resembles Steve, right?
He plays keyboards as well, like Steve Walsh.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't know if it was a secret or not, but somebody kind of let it out that Steve Morse is on there.
I know nothing about that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just heard about it from some people. So if he was, I was just thinking that he was in Kansas at one point.
Yeah, he's got a closer affiliation.
I'm sure he does, but I'm just saying. I'm hearing things. You know, I'm very. I'm very tied in with the prog community, aren't I?
Yeah, look at him now, Mr. Hotshot here, blowing secrets and everything.
I'm breaking news. I hear things. You know, it's my job to break news.
He's got to break the news. You also break wind as well.
Yeah, well, you know, I've gone to eat with you, man. You're no slouch in that department yourself. Tell me and the audience about some of the. Everybody knows Kansas. Steve Hackett is playing on this over the next few days. We certainly should mention, and we'd be remiss not to mention, the late John Wetton, who was supposed to be on the cruise. And rest in peace, John.
I actually just recorded a track for him and Jeff Downs. Actually, it was kind of going to be a secret, but now that since John passed,
and now you're breaking secrets.
Yeah, I gotta have some. Yeah, I actually just saw Jeff in the hallway, and because him and actually John Wetton and Jeff Downs and Cole Palmer and Steve Howe used to be in Asia. So there's a lot of Asia. It's like the metal world. Actually, even more than the metal world, there's a lot of incest in the prog world. I mean, you'll see like everybody on board plays in multiple bands with other people on board.
Right, and there's also, like the metal world, it seems like there's also some stuff like where there's multiple versions or variations on bands, because Yes is on this, and then there's the other guys doing their thing, and now half of them are going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and half of this Yes is going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So it's like, there's those divisions, but then they come together at times. It seems that's also pretty common.
Well, Yes are the king of it. They were always the band that, even from day one, they were shifting lineups and things like that, and they have such a roster of, legendary prog people. So I think, isn't Patrick Moraz on the ship as well? Who was also in Yes at one point. So
all right,
alumni.
We can talk about all the big guys, and we just did to some degree, but there's a few of the, younger, newer, different bands on the bill. Give me and the audience a couple of the bands that we should, maybe not the marquee names that people should be on the lookout for and watch on this that are on this cruise. Well, I've heard a lot about, you've told me a lot about Haken, right? Is that
what you're saying? Well, Larry was so kind to actually let me choose some bands, and he's calling it the Progressive Nation Takeover. So a lot of the bands that did my cruise a couple of years ago, he let me choose a few to be on board. So obviously Haken was my first pick. I think they are the best progressive metal band of the last 10 years or so. Pain of Salvation will be on the boat.
Yes, now that's an interesting one, because when I was getting off the Monsters of Rock cruise, there were a bunch of people that came up to me and said, hey, on that next cruise, if you get a chance, make sure you check out this band called Pain of Salvation, which to me sounded like a metal band, like, yeah, Pain of Salvation. But a lot of people did give me a heads up.
Well, I mean, they're both of these bands, Haken and Pain of Salvation, definitely cross genres. I think most modern prog bands do. Pain of Salvation kind of started in the late 90s, and they originally were kind of more in the Dream Theater realm with touches of like Faith No More and, you know, weird Mike Patton type things. But through the years, they've gone through an evolution. A few years ago, they were doing some really retro 70s type albums, and now their new album that just came out this month is very Meshuggah-like, with all these complex rhythms and things like that. So, but Daniel Gildenlow, who's been one of my dear friends for almost 20 years now, he's one of the greatest singers in prog. He's just got this range that's absolutely ridiculous.
And Larry was also telling me before that Roger Dean, the artist, is on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So for people listening that don't know him, his work, did he do the Yes album?
He did all the classic Yes albums, Steve House solo albums, Uriah Heep, and
right.
I mean, you guys could probably ramble off more, but yeah, he's like he's the way that Hugh Syme is to Rush, or Storm Thurgerson was to Pink Floyd. Roger Dean is synonymous with Yes.
You know, we got to go to a break in a second. I know you said you have stuff you have to do and run anyway.
I'm getting ready for the sail away. The kickoff is first time my birthday.
So give everybody real quick the overview on what of your schedule you can announce what you're doing. Because you're playing what, with 3 different bands? I said before you're playing with 72 bands, but you'll probably end up playing with everybody on the show at some point.
I won't divulge how many bands I'm playing with, but it's
what has been announced. What can you say you're doing that the people now should absolutely see? Like are you doing? I know the Dream Theater set that you're doing, right? That's announced, right?
That's it. Yeah, that was announced.
I don't know what to say.
Well, basically, I'm playing every day. I'm playing today is the first half of my birthday bash, which is broken up into 2 halves. So the birthday bash will kick off the cruise today, and will be the finale on Friday night, both at the pool stage. Completely different set list, not a single repeated song. And then I play tomorrow and Thursday with the Neil Morse Band, and we'll be doing our new album in its entirety. Broken in half, though. We'll do the first disc on the first show and the second disc on the second show.
You know that Mike told me, and I don't know, we're such good friends. I always have to stop before I say things publicly, and I don't know if it's, but we'll leave it at this. You just told me you feel very strongly about how great the Neil Morse.
Oh yeah. I've been talking.
Have you said?
Yeah,
you feel that's one of the best records that you've ever done in your life.
I do. There's several albums in my career that I consider landmark albums. I mean, Scenes from a Memory from Dream Theater was one. The Whirlwind from Transatlantic was another. And I think this latest Neil Morse album is absolutely up there as well. And we've been on the road for the past 3 weeks now already. We just wrapped up our U.S. leg, so we've been playing it every night. So we're well oiled and polished. It's the one thing, I don't know if anybody's seen any of the shows this past month. Yeah. It's a very theatrical show. It's almost like a Broadway show, and there's a lot of costumes and video show that accompanies it. It's going to be kind of hard translating that to daylight with people drinking pina coladas in the hot tub. I don't know how conducive it is to that environment, but we'll do our best.
All right, and the last thing, is this going to be the first time you play Dream Theater since leaving Dream Theater?
No, I did a project with Billy Sheehan, Derek Sherinian, and Tony McAlpine, an instrumental project, PSMS. Back 2012.
All of those guys may or may not be on the ship, I'm assuming. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Are you gonna watch the birthday show?
See if I'm free. Of course. Yeah, of course I'm gonna go.
So we did Dream Theater with that because it was me and Derek together, and then Flying Colors did one Dream Theater song on our first tour, just because we were doing songs from each of our individual bands. But other than that, I've stayed away from Dream Theater material. I've been so wrapped up in all these new bands, you know, the Winery Dogs and Metal Allegiance and Adrenaline Mob. You know, that's been my focus, is new stuff and not really wanting to fall back on the Dream Theater stuff. But you know, this 50th birthday celebration is about kind of covering my whole career, you know, the last 30 years of all the music I've made. And of course, Dream Theater's music was an enormous part of that. So, of course, that material has to be represented in these birthday shows.
How's it going to feel to do it? I mean, I'm sure you've been rehearsing it. How did it feel to go back to it?
We played through the 12-step suite for the first time 2 days ago as a rehearsal, and we played through it many times because it's very intricate. But the band I put together for it, which will remain secret until we do the show, the band is just like a well-oiled machine, just nailing it. And this is complex music, and this band absolutely kills the material.
And what night are we doing that?
That's the finale on Friday night.
Okay, so that's the fireworks are going to go off afterwards and the whole 9 yards. That's the
I don't know about that.
Well, come on, I just got to build it up.
We're going to hit the final chord. It's all about my 12-step and sobriety. So when I hit that final chord, I'm going to be popping a bottle of champagne.
As soon as the song ends, Mike is going to be passed out in a bar upstairs somewhere. That was great.
All right. Done.
Well, listen, man, I know you got to run and go do your activities to get ready to kick this whole ship off and get this thing going.
Lots of surprises already in store for the sailors, so make sure you're at the pool stage. And, already got lots of surprises.
I can feel it already that this is going to be a great run. I mean, the last cruise was awesome, and I appreciate everybody having me, and you guys in Prague World out there, all on board the ship. Be gentle with me, okay? Just gonna get into this. It's gonna take me a little time. Be gentle. This woman over here shaking her head. No.
They're gentle. No. Prague people are gentle.
Well, let's go. Get thrown into some 55-minute flute solo. Yeah. Come on, man.
That's what it is. I mean,
you're used to easy with me now.
You're used to, you know, Monsters of Rock, where it's just drunken insanity, and these people are nice. You're going to find, all joking aside.
Oh, I don't think they're not nice for a minute.
No, but it's all about the music with this crowd. I mean, it's, you know, the other cruises is about the partying. With these crowd, you're going to see every person here is going to be attending every single show. I mean, it's all about the music and the bands and something like that.
All right, well, everybody's been super cool so far, and I'm excited about the surprises, and I'm excited about just getting more into this world and having some of the great guests that we're going to have on as well throughout the course of this week as we broadcast live here on Sirius XM 106 Volume, Trump Nation from the Brilliance of the Seas, Cruise to the Edge here on Royal Caribbean. And by the way, because Mike and I go to eat all the time, as I said, we're very close friends, and one thing we do get to do is go eat all the time. The food's great on the show, by the way. Yeah,
excellent.
You're gonna love it. Yeah, so it's not Vincent's, but it's good.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, great. It's gonna be a great time, and I appreciate everybody watching us, man. This is great. We got so many people in there. So let's take a break. We'll let Mike go and get ready to get
So we're at the pool station. Kick it off at 4:20.
4:20.
That's my birthday, 4:20. So.